This week I'm focusing on something special, the advantages of having a PHEV, and in particular, the Kia Sorento PHEV. Now I've gone on and on and on about the wisdom of having a plug-in hybrid, about whether or not it's worth paying all that extra money to have, in this case, a 14 kilowatt hour battery that you have to slow charge, that you don't really get very much range out of. Now this car retails for, on the road, around $92,000. But with the PE, as Kia calls it, the product enhancement, there's a new face. This brings it more into line with the EVs, so EV3, EV5, EV9. EV6 is a bit of an odd bod, but it all conceals a 1.6 turbo petrol engine and an electric motor and a 6-speed Sportmatic. They've cleverly combined the gearbox and the electric motor and the petrol motor into this one fairly efficient unit. And they say that it gives you 1.6 litres per 100 kilometres. So this week we tried to better that. Do you know what? Wait to the end and I'll tell you. The rear in this top model is quite plush, quite opulent. We've got some side shades, nice plush upholstery, adjustable back seats, a 12-volt outlet, some USBs, and the buttons there to adjust the front seat from the back seat. Space back here is not quite as plentiful as you might think. I am sitting quite a way over the driver, and I can put my feet under the seat in front, but there's not a lot of leg room. That's what I find with 7-seaters, there's always a compromise, and it's this middle row that gets compromised. The back row is unusable. We've got a cup dash bottle holder and a fairly nice door card. It's not tacky, and even the plastic up the top isn't scratchy. And we've got Bose speakers, and then a proper bottle holder below that. On this side we've got the petrol cap. On this side we've got the electric cap, and you just pull that out. You plug this cable into that outlet I just showed you. You plug this into your outlet at home or at some unsuspecting visitor's place, and you'll be able to charge your car if you can wait around for 14 hours. Space in the rear is not exactly huge when you've got the seats folded up, but I've got that one folded down just to show you. But it also highlights the lack of space in the rear seat as well. You could get in there, just. It's all a kerfuffle and I couldn't be bothered. But you do have rear air conditioning and the ability to lower seats and another 12-volt outlet and a USB on the other side, and you've got some vents. Just leave those passengers at home, we'll get them to drive themselves. And the other thing is that beeping is the automatic function, so you can turn that off, but if you don't turn it off and you move back, in a due course the tailgate will just close itself. The front seat's also seen some upgrades, but there's a few things I want to point out, so I'm not going to go over the old stuff again. Steering wheel controls are straightforward, usual door buttons, and you've got to press that every time you get out. That really irritates me. If you don't, you'll go into the passenger's door and won't be able to unlock it, and then you'll have to come back around here again to unlock it or get the key out of your pocket. There's one bit that I'm not fussed on, and that is this silverized plastic. There's Kia's not so famous two-way control panel, heated and cooled seats, switchable USB-Cs, and you've got drive modes, and it depends on which one you've got selected as to which side lights up. Below that we've got EV or HEV selection, parking sensors, parking cameras, heated steering wheel, auto brake hold, and downhill descent and electric brake. And you'll notice this also has the dial selection for gears. But there is one thing about this deliciously large curved screen. It is badly affected by sun, and in some cases that's almost completely washed out. You can see the electronic rear view mirror here that switches between normal mirror, hello, and electronic. I'm going to leave it on electronic. Overhead in the overhead console we've just got the door switches, the light switches, SOS and Kia Connect. Kia Connect, you get that free for a little while and then you got to pay for it. which I don't imagine most people would be happy about after paying 90 grand. But buy a BMW and it's even worse. And if you buy a Mercedes, you've got to subscribe to four-wheel steering. Absolutely outrageous. Now we're still in EV mode. I've set off from home and had 50 kilometers, so the battery was full. Now I've got about 41 kilometers. And that will get fairly quickly chewed up on the highway. So I want to mention ride. Absolutely beautiful. Carrying obviously some extra weight. It's, as I said, 2,117 kilos. Now the engine did cut in just then, and that's because I needed some extra power. The engine will stay on for a little while and then it'll go back to EV again. Steering is absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful car. The thing is, for this rate, you can get cheaper Chinese rivals, a Haval H6 for example, and that has 180 kilometers of range. Not a 7-seater, but 180 kilometers of range. Bigger battery, fast charging, so you can use DC charging. This will only take AC charging. And it's about $30,000 or $40,000 less. Now you can get the performance version of the IM6, which is a 5-seater full EV, and it's $12,000 cheaper than this, has four-wheel steering, 110 kilowatt hour battery, I think, 400 kilowatt DC charging, so much faster, and a range of about 600 kilometers and a 0 to 100 of 3.4 seconds. For this price, you can also get a top Tesla Model Y. My point being that with hybrids and plug-in hybrids, you've still got the expense of servicing an internal combustion engine. So the way PHEVs work is you've got essentially three cars in one. You've got a normal ICE car, internal combustion engine, and it's helping to power the car. It's also helping to charge the battery. If you run your PHEV battery down, as I did earlier in the week, this will get completely to zero, and then it just operates like a normal hybrid car. Reports from our friends elsewhere in the media tell us that they get slightly better than internal combustion engine once they're on the highway. Okay, I've got a 37-minute drive ahead of me. That means the traffic started to build up. You get the lovely smooth feeling of an EV, but it's nowhere near as quick as an EV, and you've still got to put petrol in it. Long as you can find a petrol station, you can go as far as you want. We look at what trips people actually take. Well, I've proved this week, not doing anything other than what I would normally do, that I don't do more than 50 kilometers a day. There are some days where I could let it go till the next day before I plugged it in again. And that's where the EV parts come in handy. If you only do short trips, then your car is going to suffer much more wear. You have an internal combustion engine car, while the engine is cold, it is wearing really badly. An EV doesn't care whether the trip is long or short. So the aim of this review was not to review the car per se, but just to say whether or not a PHEV is actually worth the money. You can charge an electric car from renewable power only, if that's what you purchase. So once you've charged your PHEV even from renewable only power, the equation becomes very different. Now sometimes the low output chargers are free. So if you go to a hotel, for example, they'll have AC charging and it's free. So you can do your holiday for free. So generally I absolutely love the Sorento. Always have, think it's a great car. It's now become a very expensive great car. Very expensive. 92 grand on the road is a lot of money. The Sorento range comes in several different drivetrains, several different engines, but the hybrids come in 2 and all-wheel drive. The PHEV only comes in all-wheel drive. Very smooth all-wheel drive. And I'm still at 0.1 litres per 100 kilometres. And I'm now doing 85. So I'm just going to run through those figures again. Fuel consumption since last reset is 6.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Since refueling has gone down to 0.4 kilometres. Now that is 73. I'd already done some kilometres by the time I put some fuel in. And the current trip is still 0.1 litres per 100 kilometres. And I've completed my trip virtually the entire way, including freeway work, in electric mode. And just in case you're wondering, I've still got about 50% of my battery left. Now that I've used a plug-in hybrid as it's meant to be used, as it's intended to be used, as someone who bought it would hopefully use it, I am a convert. That's all this week from the Kia EV Sorento PHEV. Better than advertised, and I'm actually thrilled with that result. And it does go to show that if you do have access to a power point at home, you can get 50 kilometres a day of EV-only motoring, unless you go on a freeway or you really put your foot down. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just over on the round thing to subscribe.